Company-sponsored CDL training is 100% not worth it anymore in 2024. And I get it. If you're somebody out there that feels like this may be your only option to get into the trucking industry, hear me out. Because even though the company is advertising that you'll get a free CDL, down the line, you're going to have to pay for it eventually.
Disclaimer. It's not 100% for free.
And it just goes back to this basic economic principle of there's just no such thing as a free lunch. You're going to pay for it down the line. And with company-sponsored CDL training, there are just several pitfalls that just are not brought up enough, and I just feel like I should just bring it to light for you guys. Now, back in the day when you were to get your CDL through a mega carrier, it was actually a lot easier. It was a lot better. The contractual agreement was much more lenient. On average, you could probably expect to complete a contract anywhere from 6 to 9 months, but nowadays it can take as long as 2 years depending on the company, and the cost of breaking that contract is a lot more expensive. For example, you have companies like Rail Transport and their infamous 120,000 mile contract, or you pay $7,000, which is way overpriced for a CDL. And I'll get to that later in the video, just stay tuned. And even though we've seen record inflation, these mega carriers have not kept up with the inflation, because even in 2024, you can expect to make anywhere between 38 and 45 cents a mile, apart from the flatbed carriers like Maverick, TMC, and Cypress. And in addition, this is no touch freight, by the way, because most rookies are gonna do no touch freight. That's just, the law of averages. Now, if you do want to make more money and you don't mind the work, then, companies that are in the beverage industry, the food service industry, even a dollar store account, those are the highest paying jobs for rookie truck drivers. But like I said, if you're ready for that type of work, then it's out there for you. It's not going anywhere, in my opinion. But like I said, this video is really for the average rookie that's going to Swift, a Rail Transport. Who else does company-sponsored CDL training? Any companies that do company-sponsored CDL training, this video is really for you, because you can expect to make anywhere from $500 to $700 a week, and it's not very consistent at all. In fact, you can expect to make very, very inconsistent income when you're first starting out in the trucking industry, and that, of course, affects your morale. That decreases employee morale, because you're making a commitment, you're making a sacrifice to be away from family for long periods of time, and to just make a $700 paycheck doesn't feel worth it. It's demoralizing, in fact. And mind you, if you try to leave the company, they will sue you for thousands of dollars for that CDL training that you did with that company, because you're breaking the contract, which is why I don't feel like it's worth it. And in addition to that, most mega carriers, you're driving their trucks, the fleet is automatic, 100% automatic. So you took your CDL test in an automatic truck, which means that you have that automatic restriction on your CDL, and that limits the amount of job opportunities that you have in the future. 9 times out of 10, you may have to take a refresher course to get that restriction lifted off your license. So that goes back to what I was saying earlier. You're gonna have to pay something down the line. And depending on what state you live in, you may have to take the CDL test all over again just to get the restriction lifted. That includes the dreaded pre-trip, the maneuvers, the parallel parking, the alley docking, and then the road test in a manual truck. And, there are gonna be people out there that gaslight you and tell you, the fleet is moving to 100% automatic, manual trucks are going to be obsolete, they're going to be a thing of the past. That is false. You just never know what you're going to be dealing with when it comes to equipment breakdowns. You may have to be stuck with a loaner truck. I mean, one example of this would be Anthony from I'm Anthony TV. His truck was in the shop recently, and he had to drive a manual truck, a loaner truck in 2024, and he works for Gordon Food Service, a company that is claiming to transition to 100% automatic fleet. And in addition to that, companies tend to shy away from candidates that have an automatic restriction on their CDL, local companies. So it's in your best interest to get a CDL without an automatic restriction to make yourself marketable in the job market, because we are in a very, very competitive job market. Most OTR truckers want to go home. And lastly, I do want to touch on this. I don't feel like it's worth it to get your CDL through a company and commit to a contract in 2024, because you may realize down the line that trucking is not for you. We do realize that we are operating an 80,000 pound death machine for 38 to 45 cents per mile on average your first year. That rubs a lot of people the wrong way. They feel like it's not worth it. You're better off working in a warehouse. And a lot of gas stations like Sheetz, Rudders, they're paying a lot of money to, cook food products, to work as a cashier, and meanwhile you're making the same or even more than a truck driver that's operating that 80,000 pound death machine. If you're somebody that comes to that realization that trucking is not for you, it's much better to leave the trucking industry without any debt. Just, start over, find something else that may be right for you, instead of, going to a company, going through their CDL training and realizing it's not for you, and then be stuck with a $7,000 bill. And sometimes you have to pay that back with interest. So yeah, there you have it. It's better to, leave the industry with no debt, just start over with a clean slate and find the industry that's right for you. Now, there are companies that are starter companies that offer company-sponsored CDL training. These are flatbed carriers, and they are paying the most for rookie truck drivers. I think on average you can expect anywhere from $1,000 to $1,200 a week doing flatbed, but you will work in all weather conditions. Flatbed is physically demanding. You have to be in good shape to do that type of work. But, companies like Maverick, CMC, Cypress, they do offer flatbed training for rookies with no experience. And it may be right for you, but I don't want to be fighting with the tarp when it's wet, raining, windy outside. It's not for me. But hey, somebody has to do it. But at the end of the day, I urge everybody to just do your research. Swift Academy, Rails, GYC, DL program, those programs, they may be great on the surface, but like I said, you're going to test in a truck and get your restriction on your license because they only have automatic trucks. The contracts are very, very long. It seems like, especially in this market where freight is low, there's a lot of downtime, there's a lot of sitting. But you know what? It's up to you what you want to do, and what said you? How do you feel about company-sponsored CDL training? If you enjoy videos like this, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. I'm Tasia Woods, and I'll see you next time.